Hey guys, it's Andrea again. I have an exciting topic that I want to talk to you guys about. This has really been something that I've been pondering and working through for my own thought work. Thought work around weight loss, thought work around my value as a person or my abilities. And it was something that had occurred to me just in thinking about having to change my identity and how I'm identifying and getting rid of some of those persistent thoughts that don't align with the new identity that I want to be relating to. So, the very popular KonMari method of decluttering was actually what had popped up into my mind. Just being able to kind of honor the thoughts that I had, but then being able to, in essence, let them go. Now, the KonMari method has primarily been used for decluttering homes, in which you just bring out everything in a certain particular category, like books. You would go through your entire house, get all of the books, pile them in a big pile, and then you would go through one by one, hold them, see if they spark joy. The ones that do, you would go ahead and keep, and the other ones you would go ahead and let go. So I felt like this would be something that we could apply to some of our thoughts. And so for particularly in my case, kind of going through the recesses of my mind and just getting out everything that I thought about my body, about, whether I'm loved, my ability to lose weight, my thoughts on having lost weight before and gaining it back, just all of the things, right? Just pile them all out there. And I would suggest, and I am going to do this, but to write them out like on a sheet of paper and then cut them into strips, and then kind of doing a little symbolic ritual or something of, reading it out loud and then like folding up that thought and thanking it for in whatever way that it served you, but I no longer, and then stating that I no longer think that way and I no longer need you in my life, and then throw it away, or if you want to get fancy, you could like light it on fire. And hopefully, and obviously that's not going to permanently take that thought out of your head for it never to return. But I think it's important that as those thoughts might get cycled back through, that you just be able to take a moment and without judgment, right? Without any sort of self-judgment, just be like, I don't think that anymore. And then maybe in place, put what you do think about. So anyways, I'm going to grab my little notebook here. I did a lot of work with this, and I thought I might share a few of the things with you. So I did take some time to write out all the different things that I think about my body. And I did it mostly in the way of what was not going to spark joy. So I was just trying to get all of those out. And I will say that I think that was a little detrimental. I did try to take a step back and really process this from a very just, clinical standpoint or what have you. But I think it would have been a little bit more beneficial had I actually put in, some of the things that do spark joy about my body or my abilities and things like that, just to really kind of have it be balanced. Chancy. After I finished the activity, and again, I had only done the things that don't spark joy, I felt okay in that moment, but let me tell you, when I got home, I felt like that was when all the things rushed in, all the bad feelings I'd kind of stirred up within myself. So I would just like to put a word of caution out there for you guys. This is, something that can potentially bring up some bad feelings, and that's why I would also recommend that you go ahead and, do the good as well as with the bad, because you do want to acknowledge that you do have good thoughts about your body and your abilities, and that you do, that those thoughts do spark joy for you, and that you do want to keep those in your life. So I do think that in the process that I took, I think that that was one misstep that I think in the future I would do a little differently. Again, let me just also caution that I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a doctor of any kind. This is just me sharing my journey with you, and kind of the work that I'm doing with my own self. So, obviously you need to make your choices for yourself, and, you may need to come to a conclusion in some cases that maybe what you've dug up might need to be something you take to a professional to help you work through. Because as somebody who has gone to counseling for many years, it's not all as easy as, writing something on a piece of paper and throwing it out. There's a lot of sticky icky that can come with that. So, there's no shame in getting the help that you need. But anyways, back to me and my journey. I'll just share a couple different ones of these with you. I remember when I was young, we're talking, I think I must have been 5 or 6 or 7, and me and some of my friends were sitting out on the porch of one of my friends' house, and we're all comparing the fold of skin under our arms. And I was the one that seemed to have the most plump fold. Guys, it's a fold of skin. Like, what the heck? But apparently the conversation was, this was some sort of little fortune teller here as to who was going to be overweight. I know you're there. I'm going to love on you. As who was going to be overweight when they grew up. So I was the one with the plumpest one, and it was determined that I was going to be fat when I grew up. So that's one of the thoughts that I have. If I try to trace that back, I think that gave in me, some feelings of being unlike everyone else, being, not lovable, not really fitting in kind of stuff, undesirable. That feels yucky. So anyways, I would like to write that on a piece of paper, say that it no longer serves me, and set it off into the universe. I think at the time, I think we do kind of get these thoughts that, at the time they serve us. At the time when I was this tiny little kid, didn't really know much about anything. I think I was really just, I didn't want to think that my friends were bad people or mean girls or anything like that. So I think it was a lot easier for me to internalize that and just be like, oh, well, I guess I'm not lovable. I guess this is a, fault of my own. Without just realizing, okay, it's a fold of skin, everybody has it, and it literally means nothing about who you are as a person. Let's see. What else? When I was in middle school and I made the dance team, they had to take 2 of the uniforms, the little skirts. My mom had to cut them in half and sew them together so that I would have a uniform to wear, because I guess just ordering a new one wasn't a thing. So, again, this made me feel like I didn't fit in. I was, somebody that needed to, be repaired or something. I needed to be able to change to fit in to, what was expected, the size that they had for, people that were expected to be on the dance team. Another thing, I don't know if I'll share all of these with you. A more recent one would be, I had, of course, not accepted myself as I was. So when I got married, 7 years now, over 7 years, I didn't lose all the weight that I had set out to weigh, and therefore my dress did not, it was difficult to get it on. Let's just say that. And I think that really kind of reinforced the thought for myself that, I'm not good enough, I'm a failure, I'm lazy, I didn't try hard enough. And I don't think that any of those things are true. You know, like I had a lot going on in my life. I was already a mom, you know, I was planning a wedding, you know, I worked full time. You know, there's a lot of stuff. I owned my own home, was doing things around there. So it's not like I was just sitting on the couch eating bonbons all day. And I did lose quite a bit of weight for my wedding. So again, I think that that's something that we could probably go ahead and let go. So anyways, that is what I have to say about decluttering your mind. I hope you guys kind of following along with this exercise with me have maybe found some useful things that maybe you can do for yourself. As I said before, this isn't going to totally cleanse your brain of this, you know, thought that, well, in my case, I may have been thinking for 30 some odd years, but to recognize that it is a thought maybe that you don't no longer want. And then coming up with, you know, who is the person that you do want to be, right? That level 10 person that I've shared with you guys before. You know, what kind of thought can we replace that with that, you know, now supports the identity that you want to have, you know, the types of things that you want to be in your life. So, thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!